Alrighty. So right now we getting used to our PMC2 squared, and PMC2 squared is the references that pays for the bill statement of what we need to be able to transaction specifically within these specific um, brands. So it's pretty much what we're using at Comcast and T-Mobile to pay for those brands. So it's pretty much using $50,000 the whole set. So it's pretty much how you use your total fee to pay your sub price. So it's pretty much paying for trans tax, sub tax, and trans total, and it's pretty much where you're using majority of that stuff. And the thing about it is we're barely in sophomore year in college, and I've started from a lower district, so it's not going to look the same as 50 million. So mines go up 5 million instead of 50 million. So it's pretty much as I start that Eco Herb 747 and Eco Leave Mega platforms. That's pretty much what we're getting. You're getting a more shorter drive for a more complex skill, experience, and determination. So it's pretty much as you're using more to complete your sciences, and you get more conflicts completed. That's pretty much where you're being able to remain more positive to your job. As you get more 537 items complete, 537 cards complete, you're getting more majority of that completed, along as getting through the day with, a perfect mood. That's pretty much what you're doing at Red Cross or Lifeguard Aquatics. It's pretty much where you're learning more about how to maintain your sustainability, and understand more about your mood changes and how to upgrade your mood changes. And that's pretty much where you're just going from SpongeBob SquarePants majority of the day then, and that's pretty much what uses your advantages toward using a better stipulation toward your common decency at the time. So that's pretty much where you're using 2006 with 2022, and you're using the same midpoints and the same weight transfers. So that's pretty much where you're using 49ers with with New York Giants at the time. So it's just being able to share any official sponsor with the personal fan club. Being able to know more about the personalized fan club is pretty much what I interest myself in as my $55 million deal. So that's pretty much as I start a 5X for myself. That's pretty much where I start my intermediate level, since my intermediate level was lower than the average Sam Houston's intermediate level, which escalated up to about 95,549.56 cents. So that was pretty much his start, back in 2005 or 2015. So you got to have a $5 million break. So that's at least giving me time to recuperate, and have my Thanksgiving and have my spring break and have my summer just as well. So it's being able to be a normal job contender content, and being able to deposition more toward my responsibilities of my resources, and being able to connect with my websites of networks. So with that, you're using T-Mobile, Comcast to promote more of the specifics of that that description, and being able to do that, you're you're producing it to be a midpoint of some sort. So you want your midpoint to be a correct point in order to have a corrected language of English, which is inspired by intuitive language or analytical form. Either way you want to do it, that's pretty much what can help you. Standard form probably wouldn't work just because it's a certain random digit that it adds up to at least $78. But that's pretty much a lesser slogan to be promoted with. That's pretty much working with just 5 paper instead of 25 paper. So it's pretty much where you want to be able to promote as much as you can. And that's just been the thing since 1880, of these years. So just being able to duplicate and be able to document different midpoints of discussion, which made a good topic of importance in your successful career. So just being able to collect with the normal $50,000 of $539 interest. So whatever it is you're interested in, a car of a certain casual culture, and being able to know more about the certain company that you drive with, other than Sam Houston, or it being more of AIG or ADP or PFG. You're looking more in that area. But once you have all point, that's pretty much pointing you out toward 6,900 different midpoints within Sam Houston. So Sam Houston could grade out your personal location references, so you can be able to grade your right performance in the right spot. And it's pretty much where you're using your own your yearly seasons to promote more for that. So that's using 2059 to 2079 to promote more for the New Deal era, Reconstruction era in 1939 to 1989, and being able to reestablish newer credits from 2010 to 2018 is what I want to do. So it's pretty much working with EcoHerb's platforms as we work with displays and subscriptions and programs within that area. So it's pretty much where we're using 1939 of 2018, and being able to enhance data and enhance the credentials that come with that data is pretty much what I do at Enterprise Interscopes as a district coordinator. It's pretty much where I just share my occupation with with my centers, with my industrial centers, and being able to come in contact with the blueprints of the faculty is pretty much what I want to do, as far as it being a draft of some sort. And it's pretty much as we learn more about our airports, we learn more about our malls, we learn more about our restaurants, we learn more about our aquatic pools for the summer. We learn more about our restaurant warehouses. And that's pretty much what you're doing as a district coordinator in my behalf. So it's pretty much, as I'm working with at least 59,000 dimes of experience, that's pretty much where these are going to, as these are a good luck treat for having a good reliance within having that same accelerated having that same accelerated gene of having a positive performance to grade upon. So that's just using everyday yellow, red, and green tones of EcoHerb, PMC2 squared, and EcoLeaf mega platforms as you figure out different places of of your local state. So, it's pretty much working with 96, 26 different corporations of the nation, as you find a spot that has at least 56, 36 different minerals within your Penske or your Granger or your Glacier, and it's pretty much just keeping everything cool as it's working on generating mechanisms at the time. So I was pretty much working with Eagle Herb 747's productions and processing at the time. Being able to process and being able to endure through the determination statistics at the time. So that's pretty much working with those details as you focus yourself on Comcast and T-Mobile, and be able to provide up to at least 12 points that make a good exception every subscription that you make. Is pretty much what we're trying to get on the W2. So that way you can have a little extra specifications to update you on when you need to make more of that approved acknowledgement between 212 and 612 people, knowing between a smaller group and a larger group of how to recommend, more for a 10th grade ammosity at the time. So, us being able to know more of gray, orange, and green, and, knowing of, more of a higher tropical contrast of population versus urbanization at the time, migration versus population at the time, those that are moving into their houses versus those that are already in their houses. So, this pretty much going through 2023 of 2032 and, being able to know more about, what percentage needs to be in a high house. It's pretty much working with a married group of well-med, and, I was working with AIG as well. So who's the most paid? Who's the most curable? Who got the most dental plan statistics going on? That's pretty much where you put those elites in their nice houses. So that starts 2025 of 2028, and that's pretty much where you get into after the end of that as you get more into 2018's Christmas. That's pretty much where you're using your new platform of houses at the time. So, that's pretty much where you have to be able to calculate bonus data. You have to calculate bonus data. So, that's pretty much where you're making at least 944 times higher than the average payment that gets paid, at the houses, 9 months down the line. So, that's pretty much where you see, since 2012, you've seen houses be able to exist since 9 months, for completely 9 months. So, however that 9 months is, we want to make it, completely paid off by putting at least, a dime over every payment that was getting made. So, we're still putting money down. Actually, we're even putting more money up. That's pretty much putting, at least 56 months above its trans tax. So, you have at least, those amounts of property investments after you spend $56,656. So, that's just using purple, green, and orange effects of $556,656. So, that's just using 556 county law at the time, which is, in Austin, Berlin of the city capital. So, using that, you coming up with at least 9 to 12 different objectives and different conflicts at the time. So, those conflicts are worth 83%. It's pretty much a lower big deal of some sort. So, that's pretty much where you got to be able to comprehend with the aspects of the industry, as it makes, more bigger deficit orders for, not just bill statements, not just tax deficits, but that's pretty much where you got to be able to be able to understand that as you cross the lines and make your own trail for yourself. So that's pretty much focusing on 19 to 5 years old. You're working on college at the time, so that's pretty much where you're working with 12th grade, 10th grade, sophomore year in college. You're working with midterm exams. You're working with all types of um, digital advisors of higher grade math and higher grade eligibility at the time. So that's pretty much working with 546 positions of progression in the past of 26 different positions. Greater than 1856 and greater than 1956. So that puts me in a positive modern year since I passed my yearly exam. So that's pretty much um, as we make another adjuster for the next year and the years that go above that. So it's pretty much how 2012 was starting. As I made my own credits in college. And in college credits, I made my own college credits in high school. So that was at least 12 to 24 credits of in high school that I made that contributed in college. And we don't know if that was transferred yet. So it's pretty much where we want to be able to make sure that goes as precisely as possible at that time. We want to make sure that goes through as precisely, as smooth as possible at that time. So, that's pretty much working with at least $56 of transmission time. Whether it's going 50 miles or 96 miles, you're pretty much in the local state of Smithville. You're in the local state of Bastrop, Kyle, Katy. I mean, not Katy, but Kyle and Waco. And that's pretty much where you're looking at those different details of different propositions within the state at that time. So it's pretty much you naming a particular state of coordinates, and being able to use that at EcoHerb's performance. So us being able to share 9883 serial number of EcoHerb 747, which is a code that EcoHerb runs by, that that you use prominently to make a profitable deal with not just the way you think, but the way that you conspire your intuitive acknowledgement. So that's basically working with 5,000 instead of 200. So that's pretty much working with 1859 of 2010. So that's pretty much working with purple, green, and orange tax deficits majority of the time, since you had all those those indictments in a particular way. That's over at least 597 different indictments out there that you could have, that you could want at the time, and you could be using. But that's pretty much where you putting yourself in debt. So there's multiple ways that you can go in debt, as you see here. That's pretty much where another portion of subscribers are at. They're in the debt collectors area, and that's at least 83 debtors in the situation, as they make transfer Jackson Hewitt and in AIG. That's pretty much where that goes. So that's pretty much what we're trying to make at the time. So other than that, we are working with digital geometry, figures and shapes at the time. So it's pretty much where we're using 447 shapes, 547 shapes, 657 shapes, 699 shapes. You know, you got it. If you got it, we can use it. So, you know, it's pretty much using at least 50 shapes. That's at least using 50 shapes to promote, you know, more for your positive program of 1898 to 2023. So, you know, I was pretty much working with at least 2008 of 2018 and figuring out, you know, a bigger deposition of 10th grade amosity at the time. So, you know, as far as it being amosity, we wanted to be a critique toward how pervasive can you be in order to get the word across clearly and, you know, be able to maintain a good profile sufficiency throughout the day. So, you know, that's pretty much what she's doing at all of the careers at this time. So, you know, it's pretty much working with yellow, red, and purple propositions of airport deposition. So, you know, it's pretty much working with the elevators, the escalators, and, you know, we're dealing with the everyday population of everyday travel. So, you know, the thing is, you know, we're just doing at Prospect, we're just making sure you get on your plane diligently without, you know, too much conflict or too much complaint, or, you know, not enough entertainment. You know, it's pretty much where you want to be able to use your own entertainment for, you know, for when you get to your private spot. So, you know, it's pretty much how you entertain yourself. So, you know, it's pretty much working with Ergo Herb 747, then you're working with Nike, and then you're working with AIG, and then you're working with Adobe. So, you know, that's pretty much where you're getting those details as you work with UPS and Gamefly. So, you know, it's pretty much using more of supply and shipping to promote more for that, other than industrial distribution or supply distribution or stock and trade. You know, that's pretty much where you're using, you know, majority of your 89, 65 different intersecting routes at the time. So, you know, however you're doing it, you know, you got to be able to critique it to where you can get as intuitive with your acknowledgments as possible, and, you know, claim it as analytical form. So, you know, that's pretty much using 783 different acres to provide more for that six platform of rice, beans, and, you know, it's pretty much using at least 300 different servings of beans and rice at the time. So, you know, it's pretty much all I have to do as a 2023 to 2003 candidate at this time. So, you know, that's using MoneyGram, that's using AIG, that's using UPS, that's using Gamefly with Liberty Mutual and Catfish Industries, as you make more prominent equations like this within that future. So, you know, it's pretty much what you do after you add it to 30,000 in your network. So, you know, that's pretty much what you getting when you get, you know, 300 instead of 100. So, you know, that's pretty much where you're working with PMC2 squared, which is credential situations, which help you with your Jackson Hewitt statements and so forth on that way. So, you know, that's pretty much where you're working with those details. So, you know, that's always good to know after you know different sources like that. So, you know, that's 2x of 3 to the second power, 3x to the second power. So, you know, that's pretty much what we're using at that time. So, you know, that's pretty much using T-Mobile of Comcast and Comcast of T-Mobile. And that runs up $59,956.56 for at least 30-minute intervals at the time. So, you know, that's pretty much where we use those 30-minute intervals at the time. So, you know, other than that, you know, that's pretty much where we're using 5,500 dollars in hundreds instead of tens or dollars or fives or 20s. You know, we're using hundreds, you know, majority of the time, 952 times out of 100. So, you know, that's pretty much where we're being able to be more into the PMC2 squared of EcoLeaf mega platforms, which is purple, orange, and green. So, you know, that's pretty much where you're working with different the personal intents of Rowdy Rooter, Stanley Steamer, you know, that's pretty much where you're using 59, 39 different coordinates to promote more for that type of opposition or description, you know, compared to that coordinate or description at the time. So, you know, that's pretty much where you're using more for GameFly, more for Max Preps, more for Google Docs at the time. So, you know, that's pretty much where you're using those three to configure with EcoHerb 747's compliance. And, you know, EcoHerb 747 deal is, you know, it's a little bit of Austin code with its own particular career, which is Austin Aquatics. So, you know, it's pretty much where you're using your own your tax records to promote more for your details, as far as you knowing more about, you know, groups of hundreds being spent at the time. So, you know, that's just working with AIG, of Jackson Hewitt, of MoneyGram at the time. So, you know, that's pretty much where you putting in that extra $98 or that extra $38 or that extra $30. And you know, you make sure it goes to either MoneyGram, GameFly, or AIG, and, you know, they spend that large congressional law order or a bill statement on that. And, you know, it's pretty much where you're using a large tax deficit or a large tax reference. The tax deficit comes with the tax reference as you figure out what you want to pay for. So, you know, it's pretty much looking at Amazon, it's looking at all the cash, and that's looking at all the sales and balance, you know, objectives that you could be purchasing at the hour, and looking at what you want. So, you know, it's just the average day 2006 to 2018 venture. You know, as you look more into Ravens, Chargers, Seahawks, Green Bay, New York Giants, you know, that's pretty much where you're looking at the whole shebang of Fox 7. You know, you hear Fox 7, you hear Comcast, you hear T-Mobile. You know, that's pretty much where you're using the whole 1959 to 2072. And, you know, being able to use Chargers, use at least 783 Chargers with, you know, at least 783 different Challengers with 783 different Camaros and Chrysler 300s. And, you know, it's pretty much where you're using that whole detail as you spending $539, 539 bills a transaction. So, you know, it's pretty much where you got to be able to spend that lump sum. You know, you got $50,000. What makes it hard to spend $539, you know, over and over again throughout the 5 months that you have it, you know, within your current processing, your current process. So, you know, it's pretty much where you're using that whole content at. You know, it's pretty much where you're using at least $93 every transaction that you make to make a good exception as the store wants. And, you know, the thing is, you know, the store is not looking for a $50 bill, you know, majority of the time. You know, even the little stores is not looking for a $50 bill. So, you know, it's pretty much where you got to make that $5 bill count when it does count. So, you know, it's pretty much working with at least five 50s that go into those accounts at the time. So, you know, it's pretty much working with trans tax of, you know, PMC2 squared to AIG to Brinks at the time. So, you know, that's pretty much working with at least $3 million in reference, you know, going towards, you know, TransUnion Reflect to AIG to MoneyGram Plus at the time. So, you know, that's pretty much where you're working with excellent navigation skills compared to EcoHerb 747, Google Docs, Google Maps. He's using that good stuff. So, that's pretty much where you see different entitle rates as you make more for, saltgrass, cheddars, razzoos, Mr. Catfish, Whataburger. You just gotta know what you want. It's pretty much a specific deal of what you want, not what you want to eat, but that's pretty much where you making your diligence as far as you knowing what to make. It's pretty much as you figure out what to eat. It's pretty much where you got to use as much time as possible. 50 years ain't enough. You can't just be able to make 5 different sects and think that you're a chef at the time. You got to be able to deal with 537 of its greatest sects in order to, experience that level. So that's pretty much where you got to be able to keep experiencing, being able to use that same method every 539 hours. So since my profile for Mr. Catfish is so great, that's pretty much where I can just come in at any week and, be able to do anything that I need to do to promote more for my compound of jurisdiction, as far as it, being promoted by Infinity and Under Armour as well, and Hanes. So, it's pretty much where you're getting more of the configurative mission for 2007 of 2023 at the time. So, that's pretty much as we're coming more updated to 1923 and 1983, it's pretty much making a world-class look for Oldsmobile, Delta 88, Buick LeSabre, Park Avenue, Caprice Classic. That's just one of those 2005 to 2025 districts, that's not NFL, that's not college, but, it's coming out of high school and it's going to college. So, that was just the whole look of 2012 to 2022. So, that was a big exchange for me. So, it's pretty much where I just got to keep it cool and, keep it more 4A for myself as we keep it more 2012 of, being able to know more touchdowns being made than ever at the time. So, instead of 5 games, it was 15 games. So, you bring that 5 touchdown into 25 touchdowns, and, that's pretty much where you're using, more of the career seasons of that acknowledgement. And this is particularly going out to Austin Statesman. This is going out to Dave Campbell's magazine. This is going out to Max Prep. So, we're just sharing a private conversation at the end of the day, as well as giving a look on Comcast and, being able to share different perspectives of the position that we know and, that we care for as well. And, it's pretty much what we want to be able to produce at the end of the day, as we make more exceptions toward, what's good and what's acceptable and what's it was excellent at the time. So, it's pretty much where you're looking at your district of jurisdictions and, telling what's out there that you have of your local state, or what we have in a general state and what we have in a lieutenant state. And, it's pretty much looking at me versus Justin Miller versus Clement Jones at the time. So, it's pretty much working with 1959 to 2069 of 200-mile relay versus a 50-yard touchdown at the time. So, that's pretty much, what are you grading? That would be Celia Alvarado's, that'll be Carolinas. There'll be Carolinas depositions as far as what were we trying to judge at the time. So that's the whole $59.25 deal as far as what we was trying to judge at the time. What makes a 50-yard touchdown, more exceptional to be a bonus drive at the time. We know a touchdown is a touchdown. We know 50 yards is 50 yards. But, what makes that 50 yards more exceptional toward it being one of the most Prostanian of his by-district meets at the time. So it's not just trying to figure out its mid-terrain goal. It's trying to figure out its statewide zone. And, that's pretty much where you're going after you go to by-district after 2009 of 2012. So, that's pretty much where you're using, majority of that income for. So, that's pretty much where we're using all type of dynamics of statistics and situations, that we personally been in, with IIG experiences and skill, and being able to collect it with MoneyGram and Jackson Hewitt benefits is pretty much what we come up with after 50 years of deposition. So, that's pretty much what David Sorrell is going to know. That's what David Jacobs is going to know. That's what Charles is going to know, just because he was in an honor society. And, that's pretty much what Johnny Higgins is going to know. So, that's pretty much what we focus on in the everyday society, as far as it, being something that we needed to. So you just practicing patterns and coordinates at the time, of local tenants at the time. So, since I'm a district coordinator, and, that's my position's occupation, that's pretty much you learning more about what I do as an individual in my sport. So, at my point of time, what I'm looking at as I score touchdowns in my 597 touchdown drive is, we're looking at more interest toward, is that going to make a $50,000 payment, or is it just a normal $20,000 payment? So, that's pretty much where we're looking at, $50,000 to $20,000 payments being made for that 50-yard touchdown. That's the start of the statistic that makes you great. How much are you promoted with? You got at least 567 different 50,000s out of 130 50,000s. So, that's pretty much where we're using 50,000 to 20,000, either way it goes. So, that's pretty much we're using that, and, that's using 50, 60 different dimes of conclusion at the time. So, that's pretty much using the statistics of the local district at the time. So, that's Travis, that's Crockett, that's Akins, that's LBJ, that's Lanier. That's pretty much looking at Lanier as well. So Lanier wasn't out of anything. It's pretty much a 56-65 game. So, we came close to winning those games as far as it was Crockett. So, basically my max prep talk on that by district meet is, since we're always at each other's neck, it's pretty much where we use a big space of a big distance of having at least 52% of separation of powers empowered. And, that's pretty much what makes my 50-yard touchdown a little bit more better, because it's a little more amplified at the time. It works on audio pipe. So, it's powered by audio pipe. So, it's working on 56, 92, 66 different documents of, that type of detail at the time. So, that's pretty much where you're working with 56 yards, 26 yards, 36 yards, 86 yards, 56 yards again, 22 yards, 33 yards. You working with your current processing on intuitive tax versus the total payment. So, it's based off, what you pay total. You worrying about GDP at the time when it comes down to the employees, or, anything else in the commissioner's composite. And, it's just being professional, and, being able to share that BMW i328 professionalism at the time. So, it's being able to know much about TransUnion Reflect and Frost at the same time, and using EcoHerb at the same time. So, that makes about a $90 million payment, sharing that it has as much proof of income or proof of evidence that it needs to have. So, other than that, you bring in your intelligence in, you're not just being smart, you bring your intelligence in from 1969 to 2026. So, it's not being smart no more. Being smart was when you was thinking early, being on time, being conclusive, being able to get your organizations on time. So, that starts from 5th grade to 10th grade, that's pretty much where you're being smart at, you're being inclusive, thinking ahead of time, being able to perform your greater essential traits as you're using your 1959 to 2010s edition of how great you can be. So it's pretty much using CNN, it's using ESPN, it's using Source, using as much as you could in your life at the time. So I was using 56 yards, 26 yards, and that's pretty much what that's all about at the time. So it's pretty much what we open this year. So it's pretty much working with 50 catfish sticks at a time, catfish strips. You're working with 50 catfish strips, so it is working with a senior coordinator as his district coordinator. So, it's being able to deal with a senior coordinator of a district coordinator of my own district, it's pretty much eco herb of frost, of Gamefly. So, it's pretty much working on my own district and, being able to work with my own San Francisco to St. Louis to Chicago to Boston at the time. So, it's pretty much working with those three colonies at the time as I build more for, my 532 acre estates at that type of property. So, it's not just working with computer science, it's working with real estate property as well. So, it's pretty much where you're using Eco Herb 747 of Luxury Deluxe. So, it's pretty much as you're using your tone of coordinates at that rate of speed, in 5:37:49 p.m. of 1923 to 2057. So, it's pretty much as you're starting to deal for Ronald Reagan, FDR, and George Bush, those are following promotions that of from 5th grade of 2005 to 2022 in 12th grade. So, it's pretty much as you're using geometry, as you're using chemistry, or as you're using economy, U.S. economy at the time. So, it's pretty much using 96%, 36%, 86%, 56%, 92%, 88%, 98%, 94%, using that majority of the time. So, that's pretty much where you got to be able to put your percentage in. And, that's pretty much where you're using a full supply chain combination. So, that's pretty much what Catfish Industries is made of doing, as it spends on that unknown collateral that's being made every 50 hours a week. So, that's pretty much as we produce positive meals, for the sacred environment. It's pretty much what we want to do to keep prolonging in this atmospheric appetite. So, just being able to share more of 5:37 p.m. of at least 5 months, 5 months of the year being processes at the hour. So, this is in that April area, or this is in that September area, so you're sharing the middle of the year common phase of at least 567 months of proposition at the time. So, it's pretty much working with us working with Rosewood Springs. It's working with Rosewood Springs, or it's working with Rosewood Zaragoza, or it's working with Oak Springs. It's in that area. So, that's pretty much where you're working with that digital capacity and, making more towards a common oath toward the faithful drive toward, 1953 to 2223 at the time. So, that's pretty much working with 5.1 of 1953 to 2059, of purple, green, and orange of Boston to Cincinnati at the time. So, it's pretty much working on, worldwide nationalism of USPS, TransUnion Reflect, and Amazon at the time. So, it's pretty much working with Amazon's coordinates and, working with their $56,956 coordinates of 50 and 16 cents. So, it's pretty much working with at least 50 different subscriptions and authorized authorized counsel at the time. So, it's pretty much where we're looking at approved cancellation or consultation at the time. So, that's pretty much where you're being able to approve different authorized files that gets capitalized from, month by month, being able to use different situations of the time. So, it's pretty much using more for Hawaiian Punch, more for Wendy's, more for Jack in the Box, more for Burger King. And, it's pretty much what we're doing as we making more towards PMC2 Squared, Eco Leaf Mega Platforms, Eco Herb 747, and Catfish Industries, and Billworth Lot Industries and Enterprises at the time. So, that's going to make at least $94,000 a decade, with at least, hundreds and tens being produced. And, that if that ain't the leader of dealerships, then I don't know what is, out of Chuck Nash, now Maxwell of and the thing is, I can't tell you how to sell your car, but the thing that I would like to do to get my car, or my 5 decision, cars, just because you do have a description of my model at the time. That's pretty much where you're looking at the average CTS-V, or you're looking at the average 2021 Chevy Tahoe at the time. It's pretty much where you're starting a venture of what car you like and what car you with, and being able to understand more of the i328's imagination at the time. So, and ideas of imagination of Sonic and iOS 8 at the time. So, that's pretty much where you're just looking at the theories and contents of of 80 different chapters of life, and being able to connect with context clues that made points within the common gestures that you asked for. So, that's pretty much where you're looking at, movie flicks or something like that, and being able to contact with the clues that you've seen somewhere in the general standard premium movie that you've seen. So, other than that, that's pretty much where you're using, more of your data, your internal data time of using 23 hours, 83 hours from 2023 to 2083. So, it's at least working with 28,000 hours that you could be processing at the hour that, that you can fully maintain at the time. So, it's not like God is telling you can't do something, at the hour, and, you're fully stocked and you can't really imagine what you're thinking of at the time. So, it's pretty much part of Corinthians, of Peter's of John at the time. So, it's pretty much where you finding a way to make a faithful mission for yourself, for TCS, for Sonic, for Whataburger, and, for your local districts of Area 551, that goes from 51st to Brody out there. So, I was working on Mabel Davis, pretty much just Mabel Davis. Everything out here, from Little Stacy to Dick Nichols is Mabel Davis. And, other than it being Givens or Dottie Jordan, or, it being Ramsey or Shipe, it's pretty much where you're working with Mabel Davis, the local outland. Mabel Davis, local outland. So it either goes further north, or is on the south side of town. That's pretty much where you're looking at the Old Tour Pool, or you're looking at both OTOR hills actually. You got a east one and you got an east one and you got a west one out there on OTOR. So it's pretty much as you look more into hindsights of where you could be that endows the right pool exchange, and being able to know more about what type of pool that you like that's embezzled within your Z71 package. You can always have that at UIL or by district. And that's the thing that we carry now is instead of it being a normal 705/45 district, it's better if we use two-term by district terms. So it's pretty much working with bigger units, bigger stock numbers. Having that privilege, that indivisible privilege amount being documented within your program is pretty much where that comes from. So I was just looking at Catfish Industries of yellow, blue, and red content, and being able to have 53 meals, 23 meals, 86 meals in your coverage. So yeah, that's working with at least 5,600 hours, of work at the time. So that's pretty much working with 5 times 7 times 4 times 4 times 7 times 47. And that's pretty much where you're using majority of that accurate balance, compared to $50 of the week being made at the time. So it's pretty much using 5 times 4 times 7 times 4 to provide for that outer or that extra processing at the time. So that's pretty much where you're using that detail. So other than that, you're using at least 50, 90, 97 miles of relation, being able to use that within Facebook, Twitter, AIG, Jackson Hewitt, Frost, Allpoint, T-Mobile, Comcast, Vivo. He's using different subdivisions like that with subscriptions from Eco Arab 74757. So that's pretty much as you're making more codes toward a certain subdivision of DWL's Comcast midpoints. You're making more towards what you agree with and what you can obtain with. So it's much more better than a random visit at the time. So you're pretty much accurate toward your own individual meal that you particularly going to have the time. So you're more subdialed to having more of a random selection that you're more qualified for, that you represent at the time. It's something that you will represent just because it's a more common attribute to your personal perception. So that's pretty much using lens crafters. You're using lens crafters majority of the time when you're using your outerwear like Mabel Davis characteristics and content at the time. So that's pretty much what I'm all about. Mabel Davis at Dick Nichols. So that's pretty much as we're sharing more of that with our open community conferences. Being able to share open community conferences is what I'm open with. Sharing with. At least 7 in the morning to 12 in the evening, Sunday to Wednesday, as we share more of our Saturday morning benefit. So just being able to share your restoration scene and giving more of your respiration terms, your long-term respiration systems. So it's pretty much where you being able to sponsor that and use more of that detail to promote in different ways, so you can figure out different locations you can be at that promotes more for that type of campaign. So that's pretty much where we're using 1853 with 2093 and being able to use our own diligence to get around our real-time methods at the time, purple, yellow, and green of purple of long-term investments. So, that's at least working with 553 million and you spending 53 million at a time. So, it's pretty much where you're using at least $5 to pay for your detail at the time. So, it's at least working with 28, 899, 63 collateral at the time. So, it's pretty much where you're working with a portion collateral at the time. So, my collateral doesn't exist anymore. So, it's already been used at reference tax already. That's pretty much where, you're using a dead end solid line up between, what my dad purchases and what I purchase and what Cedric purchases and what Davey had purchased. So, that's pretty much where you're using, at least, a good tax deficit between, self-evident and um, important individuals at the time. So, is using 12:54 p.m. with, at least, January to June at the time. So he's looking at purple, green, and white tax deficits that run up to at least $50,000, at least 880 times. So, it's pretty much as you making, that correction for your tax county. That's pretty much what GameFly, AIG, and Jackson Hewitt is made from. So, it's pretty much where you're using those statistics to promote more for that detail and using it within AIG to T-Mobile or Comcast at the time. So, that's pretty much what we do at EcoHerb 747, PMC2 Squared, and EcoLeaf Mega Platforms is make bigger, better subscriptions and documents that approve of the campaigns that we are strongly invested in, as far as it being 23 to 33 of July 18th at the time of 2017 to 2027. So, that's pretty much what we're working with as far as that go with Pickles reform. So, that's pretty much how they go.